Hospital thought as pride and dignity stop the New World Order. Welcome to a not quite so sunny Oxford. It's actually started to rain now. There we go, that's better. It's been raining on and off all morning. I'm off again, I'm off on another adventure. And this time I'm going to Weymouth in Dorset, which hopefully will be sunny. I'm doing a talk. I've been talking about this for a long time and I'm finally doing it. I'm going to speak at the Dorset Earth Mysteries group. I think this is my 4th appearance there. They're absolutely wonderful group, great people. I'm really looking forward to seeing them. And also my friends Neil and Monica Ward as well. I'll be seeing them too. I'm actually staying with them tonight, which is really, really cool. And so I'm just now on my way to the station to get the train. Now, I did consider getting the coach, but really the coach journey is obviously a lot cheaper, as coaches tend to be. More comfortable and less stressful than the train, yet it is very long. You have to do dogleg all the way to London. I did do that once, if you remember. I think it was one of the New Year event, the New Year. You got a dogleg all the way to London just to go south again to the south coast, Hampshire and Dorset and the south coast. So I'm basically getting the train. Got to change at Winchester. Hopefully things will go without a hitch, and I'll be in Weymouth by 2:15. We'll see how it goes anyway. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to this. Should be fun. If you're watching this, it's probably at least a week after I'm filming it because of various things going on in my life, which I'll describe. But yeah, it's sort of the blue sky's trying to poke through, so hopefully it won't stay rainy forever. And there's Magdalen Tower there, where on May morning all the choir boys sing and everyone boogies in the street, which I didn't go to this year. Anyway, I'm going to this. Oh, guys, I've just been to this souvenir shop here in Oxford. I mean, I've been past it 100 times, and I know it very, very well. Just been in it. Now, it's changed. Why it's changed? Well, there could be a distinct reason for that, which we can talk about. But you've got all kinds of souvenirs for the city, things with Oxford University on, stuff like that. And what you used to have in that was much more general tourist items to do with this country, to do with Great Britain. So, for example, Union flags of different sizes, and also like baseball hats with England and the Union flag on it, or Great Britain, or Britain is great, and things like that. Now, you don't get that anymore. And there's a couple. I saw a scarf, a Union flag scarf. But by the way, it's called the Union flag, not the Union Jack. It's only called the Union Jack when it's flying from a ship. On land, it is called the Union flag. And well, this could tie in with the government's attempt to suppress sort of patriotism, for reasons I've explained about in my whole tech exclusive called Migrant Hotels. And I'll be saying more about that because, of course, there's the Day for Freedom coming up, which is actually Saturday week, which in London, which I will be going to. And as you know, I'm not a fan of Tommy Robinson, but you know, this is not just about him. It's about a gathering place of all kinds of people who are just fed up with the way the country's going. They're fed up with Starmer and stuff like that, and they want to change things. And that's why I'm going. I'm not going to support Tommy Robinson. I don't. But so I think that's just. I kind of predicted it as I was walking towards it. I thought I didn't see the Union flags outside. They used to sort of hang them up there. It's still the tourist season. It's only early September. It's still the tourist season. But they've abandoned. They've changed their stock so that you can't buy those things here. I mean, I'm going to get a hold of some. You can still buy them online, of course. You know, you still get them online, but which I'll have to do now. But I'm able to get some in another shop. I don't know, but they've clearly been removed from the Oxford's traditional tourist merchandise shop. All right, guys. You may recognise this place. Bill Clinton's Willie Ahoy. We're almost at the station. And of course, we're still waiting for them to shift that on Andromedan scout ship. It's been there for long. Honestly, the guys at Porton Down have just gone home. They've just gone home. My goodness, man. out now in hardback. I'll wait for its paperback. Beautiful, poignant and gripping. Breathtaking. One of the best books I've ever read. Nice quality. These are all like female. There are no male reviewers of this, it's all women. Precious and rare. Devastating, powerful and haunting. So the fact there's no male critics, it's all female critics, indicates it's possibly this is going to be just like some kind of feminist sort of like imitation of the real story. Pretty obviously some of these people are getting Boudicca moments though, just like I do. And here it is again on Southampton Central. Have another look at the cover. You can see that like on the left side of this figure on a horse you get like the calyx, acorn, torque, rabbit, these Celtic things. And on the left there's the Roman things, eagle, laurel wreath, amphora of wine and bay leaf and things like that. Yeah.
Alright guys, so let's have a look at the publisher's page, shall we? Here we are, Boudicca's Daughter, instant Sunday Times bestseller by Elodie Harper. As you can see, it's only currently available in hardback, but it does say paperback there, but it did say in the poster that it actually wasn't available as a paperback. And this is ebook. I don't like ebooks. £17.09. I think I will wait till it's a paperback. But there's the cover, and it says here. Here again, this is pretty much the same little tidbits of reviews you've just read on the poster, and here's a little blurb here. Boudicca, infamous warrior queen of the British Iceni tribe and mastermind of one of history's greatest revolts. Her defeat spelled ruin for her people, yet her name still isn't enough to strike fear into Roman hearts, at least the white male ones. But what of the women who grew up in her shadow? The women who has her mother's looks and cunning, but a spirit all of her own. The women whose desperate bid for survival will take her from Britain's sacred marshlands to the glittering facades of Nero's Roman Empire. Born to a legend, forced to fight, determined to succeed. Meet Selina, Boudicca's daughter, and here's some more of the. Here's some. I mean, these are interesting. I mean, obviously, like the point I made before, there are no men at all, no male names at all in this list of critics. They are literally making this a gender segregated piece of literature, which is not a good sign. But you can see that they're these women are all having kind of Boudicca moments here, like I do. I'm not the only one, you see. Beautiful, poignant, gripping, precious and rare, devastating, powerful, haunting. Yeah, masterful. And as you see, it's a Sunday Times bestseller. And this is the author here, Elodie Harper. Historical fiction and romance. Here's other books that she's written. And she's an award-winning author of the best-selling Wolf Den trilogy set in ancient Pompeii. Now, she's a bit like Amanda Scott, I think, in that respect. And this is Boudicca's Daughter, out August 2025, which is last month. Alongside her career as a writer, Elodie has worked as a reporter at ITV News and a producer at Channel 4. Dear, well, nobody's perfect, I guess. Anyway, here's some details here about the book. That's its publication date, which is not long ago, just a couple of weeks. Hardback only, first edition. There's the ISBN. It's under the imprint Apollo, which is simply the name on the book, which is Bloomsbury uses for this type of book. There's the trim size there, dimensions. Now, extent. It says extent 496. That's pages. But extent doesn't mean that. Extent means the number of words. And the extent... Page numbers is not necessarily a guide to extent. So, for example, a book can have a lot of pages and be thick and heavy, but it might have very large print in it, which means that it'll be shorter than a book which is like maybe thinner but has small print. So anyway, that's so I don't know exactly how long this book is, but anyway, there you go. I mean, you can look here at the. It says here, look, a beautiful, breathtaking novel, furious page turner, raw emotional journey, profound meditation on family and legacy. I love this novel. Pre-order it immediately. Well, unless you're a white male, of course, when it's not for you. But I don't know. I'm going to end it. I've got a horrible feeling this is going to be some kind of anachronistic, third wave feminist, like plastic reproduction. I've got this really, really nasty feeling that it's going to be that. And that's my prejudicial review. Just like people did with Capel Green, I'm going to review this book without even having read it. How about that? Of course, no, I am not going to do that. I probably will end up reading it at some point. I will probably have a Boudicca moment, and oh god, I suppose we're going to end up doing a bloody read party for it, aren't we? Well, you guys, look, you people, viewers, if you want me to do a read party of this, we'll do a read party, okay? But I'll do it by popular request, but not otherwise, because it's. I can only have so many Boudicca moments, otherwise I end up getting like depressed. You've got to manage your exposure to things like this that you find very emotive. You do. But yeah, I will end up reading it at some point, definitely.
It's late already, just by 2 minutes. Hope that doesn't go up. Well, someone wanted a railway adventure, didn't they? Someone in the last comment reply video said they wanted me to go on a railway adventure, and this is it. So I hope you enjoy it. The ASAP Seriously Strange conference. Was it 2 years ago? Now this train's joined together. I've got to travel in the front 5 coaches because that's how you get to Weymouth. But the back 5 they terminate at. So this is first class. I can't go in there, but you can see. You can go through there, and it can actually go. I'll have to go through to standard class. So it's going to go through here. It's not that much difference actually from travelling first class here. Because, looks pretty much the same. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Yeah, I think this train's a lot more comfortable. Just look at the leg room now. Really huge. Really big seats here. The second part, 2 of this.
And plate revenue protection
Pretty good.
If you do not hold a valid ticket for this train,
direct.
you may be issued with a minimum.
Here we are. We've arrived. Weymouth. Looking forward to this. I think it's not. It's like I've been to Dorset Earth Mysteries Group about 4 times. But I've been here about 5 times or 6 because I spent a couple of New Years with Neil and Monica. So it'd be good to see them again, I think. Here it is, Weymouth. And I think that's Neil. He's here. Maybe he's texting us. I swear he's gone a bit blonde. He has. He's gone slightly blonde. Hello, Neil.
Hello, Flair.
All right, how are you?
You're right.
Yes, Neil Ward.
Good to see
Nice
you.
to see you,
Hello,
yeah.
Hanwell viewers.
I swear you've gone blonde.
It's the sun.
Ah, yes, of
It
course.
does that to my family. We all bleach out. Yeah.
It's good to see you again.
Well-
Anyway, it's been a good journey, and I'm here. This is Weymouth, ladies and gents. That's right. Yes. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. This is Portland. I mean, it's much nicer weather than when we were last here, but there's this lovely. There's a ship over there. See?
But we had a good
ship.
day that time we took the beautiful house.
That was nice, yeah.
That was a really nice day.
Look at that shit.
Wasn't it?
It was. It was lovely that day. Yeah, do you remember people swimming in the sea? That was very nice, wasn't it?
On bingies now.
The thing is, it's easy for you to remember. For us, it's like where we go to several times to a place.
Yeah.
We sort of think, oh, was that when we took Ben, or was that when we were?
Yeah, that's right. Oh, I know, because you're around here all the time. That's right. But it's lovely, isn't it? And there's Portland up there. It's Portlandville, which is like we went up there. Do you remember with the flag? Do you remember we went up there with
we went on the boat as well. Didn't
Yeah.
we? That was really good fun.
That was great. That was a great boat trip. Yeah.
So yeah, and that was it this year? Or was it
It was last year, I think. I mean, the Pano TV viewers will know better than I do because they watch my stuff and they have a better memory than I do what it's about. And so this is this beautiful harbour here at Portland, and I know we've seen it before several times, but it still marvels at me. I must say that the south coast is really, it's one of the finest parts of England. It really is. And I haven't seen, you know, I only came here when I came here to see you and go speak at the Mysteries group, that I actually came back here after coming here as a kid. But no, seriously, the south coast is one of the finest places in England. Do you remember a TV series called Howard's Way?
Yes, I never really watched
We are that
it.
old, aren't we?
Yeah, but it was a boating thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was about a family that live on the south coast. They live up near Southampton, and it was really, really kind of. It was so much better than any TV program today because it was kind of uplifting rather than being depressing. You know, and I don't know how many viewers remember it, but it was really, it was so good. It was. Luckily, if you want to watch it, it's on YouTube. All right, this here is a shop here. Well, it's someone's house now, but it's like these got steampunk style lamps. Apparently Neil and Monica have got one. There's this guy who recycles all this old metal and make him into steampunk themed
engines, motorbike engines.
cider cans.
Yeah, it's incredible. The imagination the guy's got. He's a real womble, he is.
He is, yeah. DJR bespoke lamps. There you go. If you want one, I like the pictures.
I like this saw that's a clock.
Yeah.
Got keys on it. It's a Tennant's saw.
That. It's like you see if you want to unlock the secrets of time. Look at that, the fakery. My goodness, look what they're selling there.
But if you look at the character, it's Mr. Ben, look. Over there's the chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's the shopkeeper, and there's all the space suits and the outfits that Mr. Ben wore.
Do you remember that? I remember that TV series, yeah, Mr. Ben. Yeah, he used to have a different costume. He used to have an adventure every week, and you know, a different costume. Yeah. We've just been in this pub, the Britannia. I was going to speak up because it's a bit windy. As you see, it's unashamedly patriotic, which is why you get. It's nice in this part of the world. I just wanted to show you the sea there. Look, it looks lovely, doesn't it? Across Portland Harbour. It's just really beautiful. It's as blue could be. The sea, but the beautiful sea, you and me. Yay. Neil's we had a quick drink and now we've got to go pick Monica up from the dentist. I'm here with Neil. And you know this, you know, if you watch my Dorset videos, you'll know that this is the famous summer house in the garden. So it's lovely. It's really, there's a doll's house over there they've just got. And it's, so every time I come in, they've added something or done something to it, and it's really nice. There's a lovely rainbow. Oh, can you see that there? Just over, it's showing up on the film, over the road, because we've had a rainstorm. We're heading for the venue now, and we had a bit of a rainstorm, and it's been sunny as well, so it's lovely, isn't it? It's beautiful. Look for the pot of gold.
Some gold at the end of that.
Yes, we're sort of heading towards the end of it right now, so
we are, yeah.
We'll let you know if we do, ladies and gents. Isn't it beautiful? Can you see that? It's right over. Yeah, the storyline actually sort of like made him. It's bad writing, I suppose. Yeah. We're talking about Star Wars while we're watching
and
Star Trek, and yeah, we're shooting the shit as we always do.
Great films, but we're exposing all the holes in them.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So look at these little country pubs we're passing. It's really nice, and there's that beautiful rainbow, which is still very solid.
There it is there.
Yeah. Okay, we're here at the Staple Village Hall with Neil, and Steve's just setting up the computer and projector. He's got a new projector, and I'll just show you the outside. It's a lovely little spot, this. It's like getting... It's not easy to find. I mean, the entrance is sort of concealed.
Yeah, very cryptic.
Yeah. But here is the outside of the Staple Village Hall. And it's right here in this lovely little place here. And the weather's not bad, actually. That should get plenty of people out. And there it is.
All I can say is here is Ben, Emily and Jones for your talk. So give them a good welcome.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. It was really good to be back, and thank you all of you for coming. It's really great. We've got like a full house here. I mean, there's still people coming through the door, and there's about 4 chairs here left. It's really cool. There's so many of you. Thank you so much. And it's been raining and sort of showery tonight. I appreciate you coming all this way. This is my 4th visit, I believe.
Is it?
Is it 4th to this group? It's something like that, yeah. And it's become like a regular thing for me, and I'm really, really grateful for you all for inviting me. And tonight we're going to discuss SETI and UFOs, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Someone else has got a joke planned for that, so I'll let them be. But to begin with, there's two notes to begin with. Firstly, the blurb, the program for tonight is slightly out of date. BLC1 was what I was going to talk about as the latest update in this particular feature, but that has been completely upstaged by something new and current that's going on right now at this moment, and it's very, very important indeed. And so, which is directly related to this subject. But to begin with, there's a hidden message in this image, right? Which, just think about it, just picture that in your mind, hold it in your mind, see if you can spot the image, because over the course of this evening it may come to you what the actual hidden message is in this particular picture, this title shot for this talk. Now, the current event that is developing right now, we don't know how this is going to end, concerns this object called 3-Eye Atlas. How many of you have heard of 3-Eye Atlas? A lot of you, that's good. Some of you may have seen the newspaper headlines, such as alien invasion in 3 months, object hurtling towards the Earth in the solar system, what will happen? And, well, I think those headlines are a little bit over the top, quite frankly. They're based on the work of a man called Avi Loeb. I'll be talking about him this evening. They got more to do, I think, with the ad-infested pages you're meant to click on than scientific reality, quite frankly. But there is something odd going on. This is one of the best pictures taken by July the 21st. There's another one I'm going to show you from the Hubble Space Telescope of this object. It is very mysterious. We don't even know how big it is. In some ways, it behaves like a comet. In other ways, it doesn't. I mean, for example, it does appear to have a coma around it, like a tail. So there's particulates coming off this object, being released by this object, which is what comets do. The problem is that the chemistry of this particular coma is completely wrong. Also, the illumination. It's it's incredibly bright. I mean, it's far too bright to be some interstellar wanderer, some random interstellar wanderer, because it is, as Professor Loeb said, it's far too big. We shouldn't expect interstellar space to deliver these large-sized objects coming into the solar system as regularly as they do. We should have to wait 10,000 years for something like this, because there's not much rock out in interstellar space. It's pretty much space. It's empty. But so this is a really, I think, unique situation we've got right now. There's all kinds of anomalies to do with this. For example, if you see, it could be. Professor Loeb reckons it's about 46 kilometres across, which would make it enormous. It would make it the size of an orbital supercomet or giant comet, those themselves are extremely rare, let alone something from interstellar space. But it could be smaller, but then in which case the light you're seeing there cannot just be sunlight reflected. In other words, it is self-illuminating. It's generating its own light by some process we don't understand. Because it's not a star. I mean, stars obviously emit electromagnetic radiation. This appears to do the same, and generally the objects in the solar system, including the Earth, are illuminated because they reflect the sunlight. The Moon we see in its phases because it's reflecting sunlight. this object appears to be self-luminous, which is extremely unusual. This is Professor Avi Loeb. Now, he's the Baird Professor of Astronomy at Harvard University. So he's in a very, very senior position. He has staked his considerable reputation on this possibly being a piece of technology. The 3i Atlas is a piece of technology created by an extraterrestrial civilization. And he's been ridiculed, he's been called names. He's been, Karen Meach, this other astronomer, was really rude to him on an interview at one point, swearing at him at one point. It was very horrible, but he's sticking by his guns, and I think he's got a lot of courage. I suspect there's a lot of astronomers that actually agree with this bloke, but they don't want that kind of aggravation, and so they're keeping their mouths shut. That wouldn't be the first time, would it? Now this here, this is an object called Oumuamua. Now, how many of you heard of Oumuamua? Yeah. Oh, slightly few of you, but there's still quite a few of you, yeah. In 2017, this object came through the solar system and was picked up by the Pan-STARRS Observatory in Hawaii. And Professor Avi Loeb analysed this, and he deduced that this might be a piece of extraterrestrial technology because it doesn't move its motion, its acceleration is not how a natural object behaves. It appears to have its own means of propulsion. It's a long story, this, but you may say, well, that's obviously a natural object. It is it's like a piece of rock. It's like just irregular, rugged, exactly what you'd expect a lump of rock to look like. Well, this is not a photograph of Oumuamua. We never got a camera this close to it. This is an artist's impression. It's been rudely christened the turd picture for obvious reasons. But the best photograph we have of Oumuamua is just a little red dot in a telescope. This is just what the artist has depicted it as, natural. But we don't know it looks like this. It could look like the monolith in 2001 or 2010, A Space Odyssey. Now, this guy, Jeremy Corbell, I'm going to play you a little interview clip with this guy. How many of you heard of Jeremy Corbell? Yeah, he's a filmmaker who specialises in a UFOs topic. And I want to play this, even though this is not directly related to the theme of this talk. I think it's important to realise, just to be prepared for what the government might say about 3i Atlas when it appears. It's just a brief clip here, and I'll play for you. There we are. Is it? All right. Steve, it doesn't appear to be coming through the projector. Is it? All right, okay. Right.
Your government now wants you to know one truth. And that truth is that UFOs are real. They've already done told you. Sometimes when you want somebody to know a truth, it's so you can set them up to believe a lie. And that's coming. I have zero doubt. That lie is coming. What is the lie? Specifically, you want me to say it right now? For real? Real? On camera? To be put in the show? Yes. Okay. Problem with that. If we tell the lie before it's told, they can adapt. That wouldn't be wise. I'll tell you privately, but I would really think about if you want to put this in your show. For real. That's a real thing, I'm telling you. So will you think about it before putting it in your show? Okay. So UFOs are real, and they've been here a long time, and that's a truth. But the lie is coming. All indications, like all of them, is that that lie is going to be that there is a craft slowly making its way to us here on Earth. And that is the lie they're going to want you to believe. It's nuanced, how they explain that, the nature of that threat. But that 100% is the lie you are going to be told. You even got a date. People have been whispering a date for a long time now. I know where that lie comes from. I know specifically What document from the 70s initiated the idea of that lie? A classified document. That is the lie you will be told. You're going to be told that there is a craft on its way to Earth. That's the lie. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I sent you 2 texts today with a year. Not from me. Nope. I'm not going to promise.
Maybe 2 years early.
Not going to be part of it. Not going to say it to the camera. Everybody knows. Just start paying attention. And they'll change the date, especially if they see this. Things will change. Because maybe I'm trustworthy. Maybe I'm worthy of your trust. Maybe I've told you the truth the whole way through it. Now you can verify it. If that's the case, then I'm dangerous. You've been told the truth about UFOs for a long time now. It's been pretty orchestrated. It's been pretty clear. It's using people that are telling the truth and want to tell the truth. Ultimately, they want you to know something. They want you to know UFOs are real. Thank God we're finally there. We're all there now. They want you to know the truth. But why they want you to know that truth now? I hope I'm wrong, but it's terrifying. Think about it. Maybe it's good to get ahead of it. Call it out now before they do it. I'll be called crazy. That's okay.
Okay, that was recorded last year for a TV show called UFO Revolutions by Jeremy Corbell here. Let's just move that on from there. Now, this could relate to several things. This could be unconnected to 3i Atlas, but that there's always a possibility the government might try and firstly dig itself out of a rather nasty public relations hole by telling you, well, the aliens are nasty, the aliens are bad, and we kept it from you for your own good because we're fighting a secret war against them. I mean, really, if some spin doctor would probably suggest that. Or secondly, they may want to admit aliens are real, but then harness that to agenda for greater authoritarianism and internationalism, which we see in the world today. And I can't really say too much more than that because it's such a big subject, it would take up another 2 hours. But I'll come back and give you a full lecture on that if you want, and I can do that maybe next year. But there's several issues with Corbell that makes me think maybe it's not referring to 3i Atlas. Firstly, what he's describing is very similar to a story called Three-Body Problem. Have any of you seen this? Right. How many have read the book? Right. It's based on a book by a Chinese author called Cixin Liu. And it's actually a trilogy of them. I've read the first 2, and the second one wasn't very good, so I skipped the third one. But the first one's really interesting because it's pretty much that same, it's saying that plot, and also it ties in with BLC1, which I may bring up BLC1 later when I talk about Yuri Milner and his project. But there's a bit of I'm going to skip that because of time, and 3i Atlas is more important, quite frankly. This is the James Webb Space Observatory's picture of 3i Atlas, and everyone thought when we got the full infrared view of this particular object that the mysteries would be solved and we could all go back to sleep knowing it was just a harmless natural object. Well, the Webb data, which they took a very long time to release, it took about over 3 weeks before they published it, actually just deepens the mystery because it reveals that, again, there's things like too much carbon dioxide, not enough water, there's nickel. In these things you don't get naturally. For example, nickel you usually find in compounds or mixtures with iron, not on its own. Nickel can be separated into a single substance on its own, but it can only be done that through an industrial process. It only exists in forges. It can be done by human beings in forges. I'm waiting for them to say there's something like brass in this, or mica. Now these are completely synthetic alloys that do not exist in nature. If they find brass in this, then we'll know. I mean, there's no natural process that can create brass. That is a copper zinc alloy. That's where it is today at the moment. It was discovered on the 1st of July, just outside the orbit of Jupiter. It's now heading to Mars. Now, on the 3rd of October, it's going to come within 1.8 astronomical units of Mars. It sounds very close. It sounds like a long way. It's about 38 million miles. Long way, but in cosmic terms, that's just scraping the paint off. And there are actually 5 orbiting probes around Mars, which could be, their cameras could be repurposed to get a really good image of 3I Atlas as it goes past. And if those space agencies won't do that, I want to know why not. Because, as you can see, the Earth is literally in the worst place imaginable for observing this. It's going to be on the opposite side of the solar system with the sun between us. We won't be able to see it for about a month after it passes through Mars. It won't appear again probably until late November. And God knows what it could do between now and then. It's almost like it's avoiding us. But it's coming very, very close to Mars and to Jupiter. It's coming extremely close to them. So it's almost like it's examining the planets. And it's also zodiacal. So it hasn't come in from just any random direction on the celestial sphere. It's flying through the plane of the ecliptic, this narrow disk of space in which most of the planets orbit. It's that mark that on the map looks like a comet. It looks like a comet. It designates it as a comet, but it may not be. So we've got to keep an eye on this. And it's directly related to the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, and how it blends with ufology, if this turns out to be artificial. I'll say a bit more about this later, but let's face it, we are not alone. We can't be. I mean, when you consider the size of the universe. It is physically possible we're not alone. Physically. It's within the realms of realism. For example, there's no life on the moon, so if there's lots of other planets without life on them, we're the only one. That's possible. Yet, it's also physically possible to win the national lottery 10 weeks in a row. If you buy a ticket, you're in it to win it. There's nothing stopping that from happening. But the odds against it are so enormous that statistically, no one would believe you. If you won the national lottery 10 weeks in a row, you'd be arrested, you'd be investigated. No one would believe that. No one's that lucky. And this is rather how I feel about this question about whether we're alone or not. Leave that. And so, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, this is not a scientific project, it's a scientific movement. It's a series of projects that began in 1960, and what the idea is that we can use radio telescopes and other kind of forms of radio receivers to pick up information from the universe, which is like an intelligent signal from an extraterrestrial civilization. In other words, they're sending us a message and we can pick it up and listen to them. We could even have a conversation. We could talk back, and it would take a long time because these things are a long way away from us. But that's the idea of the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. This is the basis of it. The idea is there are aliens, yes, but they're millions of light years away. There are no aliens here on Earth. They're just millions of light years away. And we have to use radio telescopes to find them. And now when it comes to this, I want to bring this issue up. This will come back again and again and again. All right. The ability to travel in space is something that we've only had for a few decades. We've developed it a very, very short time ago in terms of human history. But once we started developing it, we made enormous progress. This is Project Daedalus. Now, this is a design for a working starship. This craft, there's nothing in engineering terms. There's nothing actually preventing this from being built now. It uses existing technology, and it could get us to Alpha Centauri, the nearest star, within 50 years. And it was written down. The plans were written down first in the 1950s by the Interplanetary Society, the British Interplanetary Society, which was remarkable considering that the Wright Flyer, the first working aeroplane, only took to the skies just over 50 years earlier, 1901. So what I'm saying is that there's a chance that in the next few centuries we may become the aliens. We might become the UFOs in the skies of other planets around distant stars. And they'll be looking up at us, and they'll be thinking the same things that we do when we look up and we see a flying saucer or some other craft or some little alien somewhere, right? They'll be thinking exactly the same thing. And so then you've got to ask, and also these aliens may very well be far more advanced than we are. They may be millions of years ahead of us, and they may develop craft far superior to Project Daedalus. So you've got to ask the question, why is it that when anyone suggests they've already done that, we get laughed at? We say, well, maybe they have reached us already. No, 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 they can't do. That's crazy. Only loonies believe in that. It's quite sinister, actually, and that's the problem with SETI. But SETI can be traced back to an experiment done in 1960 by this guy. This is the godfather of SETI, called Frank Drake. And what he did was he started something called Project Ozma, using this. This is the Howard E. Tatel radio telescope at the Green Bank Observatory, West Virginia, USA. He pointed this at two stars, Tor Ceti and Epsilon Eridani, because they were very similar to the Sun, and he thought if there may be Earth-like planets there, they may have aliens on them. There was a couple of false alarms. For example, he thought he got one at one point, but then it was a plane flying over, you know. But he actually held a conference called the Order of the Dolphin. I don't know why he called it that. In 1960, he held this conference. I don't know if they wore strange masks and gowns or pranced around naked. God knows what they did. But he gathered together 15 of the best minds he could think of on this subject. And they had this conference at the Green Bank Observatory to talk about how feasible this was and how likely success was. And among them was there was Peter Lilly, the biologist, funnily enough, he's very interested in dolphins and dolphin intelligence. And he also was thinking about how life evolved on Earth. Otto Struber, the great mathematician, to talk about statistics, and a few other really, really intelligent people. And there was also a young astronomer called Dr. Carl Sagan, and his name is going to come up again in this story quite significantly. And what they did was, in the end, they came up with what they thought. They came up with the idea that there may be between 80 and 80,000 intelligent civilizations in the Milky Way galaxy. They had to narrow it down to the Milky Way, because otherwise the numbers just go crazy, because you're talking about essentially infinity. So that's quite a wide range of estimate, isn't it? 80 to 80,000. But the way they worked out was with this very famous equation called the Drake equation, where n is the number of, basically the number of stars. N is the number of technologically advanced civilizations in the Milky Way galaxy. And it is worked out by R. R is the rate of star formation, how quickly and how often stars form. FP is the number of those stars that have planets. Now, in 1960, no one had any idea how much that was. All they knew is that our sun had planets, including the Earth. We've learned since then that FP is about 70%. It's a huge number. Most stars have planets. Now, NE is the number of those planets that develop conditions for life as we know it, Jim. In other words, Earth-like planets. Now again, they had no idea back then how many that was. Now we know it's about 17%. Not 17% of the 70, 17% of the stars. So you can work out that's like a good third of all the planets that we know of. They're sort of like, it could be Earth-like. And then we had on top of that, and then we had FE. That's the number of those planets that actually have life, in which life develops. Then we go on to FI. FI is the number of those lives that become intelligent. They develop a brain, or the equivalent of a brain, which allows them to think. And then there's FC is the number of those who have the intelligence. Is that the girl I met in the pub earlier? Tell her I'll call her back. Then FC is the number of those beings that have intelligence on those planets that develop the ability to communicate using electromagnetic radiation, which is what we're doing. And then L is finally the length of time that those civilizations exist. Are we just like Christmas tree lights that flick on and off in different places and never flick on together near enough each other to see each other? Or do they last longer? Are they big bright lights that last long time? Now, there's a missing factor of the Drake equation called I call it FM. It was not included by Drake's team, but I think it should be, and I'll say more about what FM is later. Now, you often hear the phrase, the miracle of life, because we want to know, this was one of the subjects discussed at the Order of the Dolphin, the miracle of life. Well, life is actually not a miracle. Life is scientifically explicable, and whenever it emerges, it clings on, it adapts, it evolves, and it won't let go. And so the question is, how does it emerge? Now, this guy called Harold Urey and his colleague Stanley Miller in 1952 at Chicago University decided to do an experiment. They decided to try and create life from scratch. And it's very simple, this little chemistry set here. It's fairly simple. This is completely sealed off from the outside world, and there's water there. There's several chemicals put in it. There's water, there's hydrogen, there's ammonia, there's some other things, and there's a heat source which will represent the sun or volcanism or something like that. And then there's also an electric arc. Do you see there in the big round bit? Now the electric arc simulates lightning because it's believed that lightning bolts were very important in creating the foundations of life, amino acids, DNA, and stuff like that. Now, after running this for a few years, something strange started to happen. These chemicals eventually started to evolve into things like amino acids, the basis of amino acids, or hints that was coming, or DNA, sugars, other things, hydrocarbons and stuff like that, as if it was starting to resemble the primeval ooze, the early Earth. Unfortunately, the experiment was stopped, and I'd be curious to know what would have happened if they kept it running. Would some creature have burst out of it? You know, I'm sure there's a horror movie plot there somewhere. There really is. But it just goes to show, you know, that life maybe it could be that life is an inevitable product of universal workings, and it will emerge in one form or another all over the place. This is Carl Sagan. He's what you might call a pop scientist. Now, there are lots of pop scientists, and this guy's probably better than most of them. A lot of them are not very good, and indeed later on I'm going to talk to you about one I particularly dislike. But this guy, he was at least vaguely coherent and quite likeable, and he captured the world's imagination in 1966 when he wrote a book called Life in the Universe, which summed up the whole SETI idea. And he also wrote a novel called Contact, and which was made in 1997. He wrote that in 1965, and it was made into in 1997. It was made into a film by Robert Zemeckis starring Jodie Foster. And this is a very interesting film, actually, but it is quite misleading because it portrays SETI as this search for extraterrestrial intelligence as something fringe and far out, and this scientist is portrayed as a brave maverick, you know, skirting the edge of acceptability. That's not true. SETI is actually very mainstream. It's completely acceptable. It's actually ufology that is considered far out. Now, someone actually told me that you've been there. Yeah, this is the Carl G. Jansky Very Large Array in New Mexico. It's a very, very powerful radio telescope. These antennas are 82 feet high, and there are 27 of them. And they actually feature in the Contact movie. You see them in the Contact movie. And so this is one of the tools that is being used to hunt for these alien signals. Now, the challenge is not just picking up the data. It's possible that there is a signal that's already been picked up, and it's lying somewhere on some reel of magnetic tape or computer disk somewhere, trying to be processed. And it's an incredibly big job because the processing is actually a far bigger task than the detection, because the universe is constantly radiating at us in electromagnetic forms, every wavelength, every frequency, every amplitude just pouring into us. So it's listening for the signal from aliens is like listening for a whisper in a hurricane. But it's worse than that. It's like listening for a whisper in a hurricane while sitting inside a rock concert venue, because the Earth itself is a massive producer of electromagnetic noise. So it's a huge task. Now, SETI at home was where they actually tried to get us, we people, to assist with this because the task was so great. They sent us blocks of data. I actually tried this when I was a kid. They send you blocks of data, and when your computer's on downtime, it just processes through the data, and you just send it off at the end, like a screensaver, you know, and you just send it off at the end. This is going to become easier with quantum computers. Are probably going to make that task a lot easier, which is one of the reasons I think SETI is going to succeed pretty soon, definitely. These are a list of just some of the possibly habitable planets within a few light years of Earth. We don't know, we're not close enough to see what's actually on them, but there are distinct clues in terms of the chemistry of their atmosphere, the amount of solar radiation they receive from their star. They're in the Goldilocks zone, not too hot, not too cold, etc., etc. Now, there's been a few false alarms. This lady, Susan Jocelyn Bell, she at one point she really thought she'd picked up a signal from aliens. In 1967 she was working at the Jodrell Bank Radio Observatory, and she detected what she called little green men. It was a regular pulse coming from a distant part of the universe, and it was so regular it was like you could set your clock by it. It just seemed like this couldn't be natural, but it was. It was this, a pulsar. All she'd done, she discovered a new type of star. This is like a neutron star which rotates very rapidly, and it has a beam of energy which fires in a particular direction. So as it rotates, it's rather like a lighthouse beam going round and round like that. So it wasn't aliens, unfortunately, but that's another example of the kind of errors that can be made. But 10 years later, on the 14th of August 1977, something happened which might possibly not just be a mistake. A signal was picked up at the Big Ear Observatory at the University of Ohio by an astronomer called Jerry Elner. And this is the printout. Now, this won't mean much to you unless you actually know anything about radio astronomy. But you can see he has actually, what Elner has done, he simply put a line around the interesting numbers and wrote "wow" because it's so incredible. And this is called the WOW signal. And it is actually, it became known as the WOW signal. Now, what's interesting about this is it is on the hydrogen line. Now, the hydrogen line, it's a frequency at which protium, that is the simplest isotope of hydrogen, vibrates. One of the things discussed by the Drake meeting in 1960 was, supposing you have to meet your friends somewhere in town for a night out, and you don't know where they're going to meet. You have to guess where they're going to meet. You have to get inside their heads and think, well, where are they likely to meet? And they're probably thinking the same about you. And he thought the aliens would transmit on the hydrogen line because it's just so simple. It's just the simplest thing to do and the most obvious thing to do for any scientifically literate species. And this comes up in the film Contact, by the way. The transmission is on that frequency. But I think that's a little bit presumptuous, and I'll say more about that later. But it makes sense on one level. And this was on the hydrogen line, which is interesting. These Lorimer bursts, this is another thing. This was discovered by an astronomer called Duncan Lorimer and his student Bob Nowotny at the University of West Virginia, not far from Drake's place at the Green Bank Observatory. And these are far more recent. These were discovered just a couple of years ago. But they're very, very similar to the WOW signal, and there's many, many, many of them. They're all over the place. And they're a real mystery about what causes them. They really are. Now, one of the greatest tools we have for looking into the universe and possibly finding intelligent extraterrestrials is good old visual astronomy using visible light. And it's this thing. This is the Kepler Space Observatory. Now, it actually did pick up a very interesting feature of a star. There was a rather nondescript star about 150 light years from us. And it's called KIC 8462582. Which is a catchy little name, I know. It's recently been nicknamed Tabby Star after Dr. Tabitha Boyajian, the principal astronomer who wrote about this. But it has a very, very strange feature. It has a very, very strange feature because what Kepler is designed to do is look for periodic dips in a star's brightness. So every so often a star will suddenly dim and then brighten up again. And that's because there's an orbiting body going around it, which very, very briefly transits it and therefore lowers its luminosity in the same way the moon will do that. Well, the moon completely can actually eclipse the sun, causing the total eclipse. But other planets can do that as well. Like Venus and Mercury sometimes transit the solar disk, and we can watch them. But that's what he was looking out for, and he found many, many planets that have been found in that way. But there was this particular star, Tabby Star. The reduction in luminosity kept coming and going in an irregular pattern. And in the end, Boyajian and a team had to concede that one of the reasons is that this happened could be there's a Dyson sphere around it. Now, a Dyson sphere was speculated by a guy called Freeman Dyson. He said that a very intelligent civilization would build giant megastructures in orbit around the star, possibly to gather energy from it, possibly for other reasons, and that it would give off a particular signature that we could spot with a telescope. And what he predicted is exactly what we see with Tabby's star. And funnily enough, Tabby herself did a TED talk, which is very interesting indeed, because it's interesting to watch because she is determined, when she's talking about this, to present this possibility without being associated with the likes of us. She really doesn't, she doesn't have the courage of Avi Loeb, and she's not willing to put herself out the way he has. I'm sure she's in a majority and he's in a minority. There's Tabby star, if you want to see it. It's in the constellation of between Cygnus and Lyra, and you can see, pick it out with some powerful binoculars. It's not much to see. It's just a star, you know. With binoculars, it's just a star. But through the eyes of Kepler, it's truly remarkable. And this is the Mars meteorite. Remember the Mars meteorite? This is on the planet next door to us. That appears to have developed life. It's almost as if this was like the Miller-Urey experiment, because this is separate from Earth, but it seems to have developed something that may be life. As is this. This is the moon Enceladus. It's one of the moons of Saturn, where the spacecraft, the Cassini spacecraft, actually picked up several weird chemicals. Again, it's like the ones you see in the Miller-Urey experiment. This is out in the outer solar system, but it appears to contain maybe some of the elements of life. Now, what's missing from this particular subject? What's missing? We're listening. We've got these big radio telescopes out there listening to the sky, waiting for the signal to come to us, waiting for the aliens to talk to us. What's missing? We're just listening and we're not talking. We're sitting there waiting for. It's like we're on the end of. It's like we're on the phone to these aliens, and it could be the aliens are doing the same. We're both sitting there on the phone, just waiting for the other one to speak. Well, in 1974, some people at the Arecibo dish, this great big radio telescope, decided to say hello. They sent this. This is the Arecibo message. It's in binary code. The colouring is just to make it more comprehensive. Now, the top bit, the white bit, and the purple bit at the top is just explaining how the binary code works. The green bit and the double helix, that's the DNA molecule. And there in red, you can see a human being. To the left of it is how big we are. To the right of it is how many of there are. The yellow bit under that is actually a diagram of the solar system, and you can see the third planet from the sun is raised up, indicating that's where we come from, underneath the human figure. And finally, at the bottom, we have the Arecibo dish itself, a diagram of the Arecibo dish. That was sent out to this globular cluster, M15, this globular cluster, but it's 25,000 light years away. So if Albert Einstein was right about the speed of light, it'll take that long to get there, and if the aliens reply straight away, it'll take them that long to get back. So it'll take us 50,000 years to exchange greetings. There's got to be a quicker way than that.
Sorry to interrupt, but in 2001, next to Jill Bolton, radio.
I'm coming on to that, yeah. Yeah, sorry, I thought of that. You're right. I'm coming on to that. Now, SETI has never been more popular than now. What's more, now it actually has private funding. This is Yuri Milner at the back. He's a Russian oligarch, and he has funded what he calls the Breakthrough Listen project. And that is the one that detected BLC-1, this Breakthrough Listen Candidate 1 that has been found on a planet orbiting the star Alpha Centauri, which is the nearest star to the Sun. I don't have time to talk about that in detail, and to be honest, it's not half as interesting as some people are saying it is, but it is really, really incredible. Now you can see several people. There's Avi Loeb there with the red tie. And there's several other people. Richard Branson is behind this as well. There's old Stephen Hawking in his wheelchair there. Or is it him? Is it Stephen Hawking? Is it one of the others? I don't know if you watch. I'm sure some of you watch Rich Planet TV. He suggests that this might not be the original Stephen Hawking, and they keep because with his condition he wouldn't have lived this long. He would have died many, many years ago. So they keep replacing him with new ones. And it could. How would we know? He can't. Someone else could be programming his voice box, for all we know. He might be lying there saying, "I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that." That's interesting. So it's still going on. Now this, radio transmissions and telescopes is not the only way to communicate with aliens. This is the sounds from Earth. This is a golden disc, a gramophone record, that was placed aboard the Voyager probe that's currently racing out into the universe. And anyone younger than me is wondering what the hell he's talking about by a gramophone record. I don't know if you can imagine iTunes on a black plastic dinner plate. Right? Got it, kids? That's about as close as I can get. This contains sounds of the Earth. There's people speaking in various languages. There's Kurt Waldheim, the Secretary General of the United Nations, gives a greeting. And this is the cover of the record, and it has instructions on how to use it in ways that the aliens will hopefully understand. Although Carl Sagan actually designed that. He also designed this. This is on the Pioneer probe. This is another of these deep space probes. There's a plaque attached to it. There's nothing audio here, but you have here, this is basically, you can't just speak to them in human language, to these aliens. You have to find a way to communicate without language and hope they understand. The star-like structure is actually where the Earth is in relation to pulsars. Now, those are those little green men discovered by Susan Jocelyn Bell. So it tells us basically where the Earth is. Don't know, the thing at the top, I'm not sure what that is. There's a diagram of the solar system at the bottom, which is a bit like the Arecibo message, which says where the craft comes from. And then we have the craft itself and these two human figures, and that shows us what we look like and how big we are. And now what's interesting is there's a lot of presumptions here. So, for example, one of the human figures has their hand raised up like that. Now, that's a universal sign of friendship and greeting, and like friendly greeting. And indeed, every person understands that. You could go into the jungles of New Guinea and visit a tribe that doesn't have no contact with the outside world, and they'd be very shocked to see you, and they'd be probably quite scared. But if you did that, they would understand you, even though they couldn't communicate linguistically with you and wouldn't understand your culture or anything, or the world you come from. The question is, we're talking about something a little bit more exotic than New Guinea tribesmen here. We're talking about aliens. How do we know that doesn't mean, how do we know that the Arecibo message doesn't mean, we're coming for your grannies. You better come and blow us up before we do. You see, this is, you can communicate. Communication is, between species, does happen. I mean, there's a little doggy down there. He has been communicating with, is it she, is it he? Him, yeah. He's been communicating in his own way with the people in this room, and indeed we've been communicating. Yes, he knows I'm talking about him, and we've been communicating with him in our own way. But there is limited communication. I'm sure there's many other ways he does, like he exchange ideas. Yeah. Oh well, you see, maybe the aliens are too. But you see, there are some things. Sometimes I bet he does some things that make you think, what's he doing that for? No? All right. Well, most dog owners say, yeah, I know that dog, what's the dog doing that for? And we do a lot of things that they can't comprehend. So we've got to be very, very careful, because Carl Sagan helped design this. I mean, who knows how they might react? I mean, let's face it, we're sending them our unsolicited nudes. We could go to jail for that. And here's the man himself. It's funny about Sagan. He's been through phases, like. Because I was talking to someone earlier who said he used to be into into ancient aliens, and he used to be into the Mars mystery and stuff like that in the early 60s, and all that kind of thing he was into. But then at some point he just changed, and when he changed very suddenly and permanently in a way that I find suspicious. I'm just going to play you a clip. Is it the next one? I think it's the next one along. I'll just play you a little clip with him. I just want to show this to you. Where is it? Right. Because this is, I think, very, very telling. All right, and it's coming up in a minute. It's coming up in a minute. Pardon me, I've just got my slides. This is Enrico Fermi. He came up with what's known as Fermi's paradox, or the Great Silence. And the thing about Fermi's paradox is that, look, aliens are out there. There's two planets here. There's the Earth, and there's this other planet here that, is much older and has a civilization that's a lot older than we are. So presumably they developed something better than Project Daedalus, and they could reach us, or they could at least build a telescope, and they could send us messages, surely, the way we did with the Arecibo message. So why haven't we picked those up? If the universe is so huge and it's full of planets and complexity, and the Earth has developed this life, and presumably other planets have also developed intelligent life. So where are they? Why haven't they already found us? Well, the answer to Fermi's paradox is actually very simple. They have. See, this is something that the SETI scientists don't like, UFOs. I believe that intelligent life exists in the universe and has already reached us. It's already reached us, and it is here with us on Earth already. It is, they are as much a part of our planet as we are. Sure, they are keeping themselves, they are elusive, and they are making sure that they, except in some circumstances such as abductions or mass sightings and things like that, they are doing what they do privately and unobtrusively, away from, trying to keep out of our way and avoiding our attention for the most part. But they are here, they're definitely here. Now, this is where Carl Sagan's behaviour gets rather suspicious, because, you see, Sagan changed his mind very suddenly, as I said, and when he did, he occasionally started talking about UFOs, and when he did, he said these sorts of things. I'm going to show you some clips here. This is a collection of clips of Carl Sagan talking.
Since 1947, there have been hundreds of thousands of reports of UFOs, unidentified flying objects. This subject has more, I think, to do with religion and superstition than with science. That was the story told by Betty and Barney Hill. Virtually all scientists who've studied it are skeptical, but UFO enthusiasts think the Hill case is a classic example of a close encounter of the third kind. Why? The Hills' own psychiatrist described their story as a kind of dream.
Not true, he didn't.
Evidence, the star map argument is worthless, and yet this is one of the best attested cases of UFO close encounters. For all I know, we may be visited by a different extraterrestrial civilization every second Tuesday, but there's no support for this appealing idea. The extraordinary claims are not supported by extraordinary evidence. There are curious daylight photos of UFOs. Some look suspiciously like hats or hubcaps thrown into the air. Photos can be faked. More common are unidentified lights at night. They're often aircraft. But if we can't identify a light, that doesn't make it a spaceship. Most reports of unidentified flying objects turn out to be something else, like the refracted image of a bright planet or the re-entry of an artificial satellite. Some are psychological aberrations, some are hoaxes. Never is there any compelling physical evidence, a detailed close-up photograph of a strange spacecraft or a small device of extraterrestrial manufacture, or a book written in alien hieroglyphics. Never. There are reports of such things, but never the things themselves. Since Cosmos was first released, interest in UFOs has persisted. It seems to me that there are fewer sightings of strange objects in the skies these days, and more stories about personal encounters with alleged extraterrestrials, like the account of Betty and Barney Hill that we dramatized. There are still people who claim to have been abducted by aliens, or even sexually abused, or even impregnated by them. Best-selling, purportedly serious books have been written about such claims. But the critical fact remains that all we have still is just anecdote. There are no close-up photographs, no artifacts, nothing that would convince a skeptic. All there are is stories. And stories just aren't good enough on a matter of this importance. I'm still waiting for hard evidence.
There's not a single verified or checked out report which is at all connectable with the possibility of extraterrestrial life. If you would believe, as the flying saucer cultists would have us believe, that the majority of the saucer reports are due to visitations, then have a very strange situation. I mean, several spaceships are coming to the Earth over interstellar distances every day, as if all the anthropologists in the world would converge on one of the Andaman Islands in the Indian Ocean, because they just invented the fishnet there or something.
Right, now you just saw three clips of Carl Sagan talking at different times of his life. The first was when he was in the Cosmos series in 1980, which apart from that was actually a pretty good series, I thought. The second was in Cosmos Update, which was made in the early 90s, shortly before he died. The third one was made in the late 60s, where he's sitting next to the James Bond bad guy, who sadly did not drop him into a tank of sharks. It's not possible for him to be so willfully ignorant based on the things he's said before then. How many of you watched Dark Skies, the TV series? Yeah. There's a scene where Carl Sagan is actually basically read into the secret of UFOs, and he's told, you've got to go out there and tell people it's not real, even though it is. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. Carl Sagan's long gone now, and I don't know his motivations for saying the things that he did. But based on this, what I consider sort of willful ignorance, it's a possibility we've got to explore. I've got another clip coming up, I think, which is this other clip is also quite enlightening. This is a more recent program. This is actually called BBC Conspiracy Road Trip UFOs. Let's just listen to this.
Dr. Seth Shostak is a world-renowned astronomer. He works for the SETI Institute, a scientific organization whose mission is to search the cosmos for signs of extraterrestrial intelligence.
What we try and do is try and eavesdrop on signals that they might be sending our way.
Okay.
Just trying to hear ET's radio broadcasts. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of planets.
These are all UFO believers, these people.
Very clever. Life that doesn't write great literature and doesn't build radio transmitters. But we're not going to hear from those guys. Our galaxy has 200 billion stars. It probably has 1 trillion planets. That's with a T.
Right.
That's a large number. Now, if this is the only planet where anything interesting is happening, that makes us a miracle.
Right.
And one thing you learn from studying astronomy is that every time you believe in miracles, you're wrong.
Like many scientists, Dr. Shostak thinks that alien life exists, but we just haven't seen it yet. So what does he think of Bridget's UFO encounter?
I had a close encounter in central Los Angeles, Brentwood, and it involved 45-foot craft.
But no pictures.
There's selective editing there.
I was in shock. I think you would be also. You know, if I had a camera, I would still have someone ridicule me.
Can I ask, what about the craft made you think it was extraterrestrial?
It was nothing that I had seen before. It had no wings, it had no
Well,
fluid.
you said that, but you would have seen something like that in the movie.
Yeah, I've seen spaceships on TV. It's all children's TV channels now. Spaceships everywhere.
I think that if there were compelling evidence, yes, you would have tens of thousands of academics beavering away working on that. If the evidence is poor, they're not going to waste their time. That's the thing. And the fact that they're not doing that means that the evidence is poor.
You don't know, he doesn't know that. It's an assumption.
Dr. Shostak's views make complete sense to me. I wanted to ask the doctor, why do ordinary people like Bridget and Darren believe they've seen such extraordinary things?
There's something about a conspiracy that I think is very empowering. If you, for example, think that we're being buzzed by alien spacecraft, and those pointy-headed, nerdy scientists down at the local university don't agree with you, you know something they don't know.
Yes.
And so there's something empowering
It's a
about that.
cachet.
Yeah, I think that's understandable.
Right, that was annoying. That was really annoying. I mean, you probably spotted the selective editing there when they were having the conversation, how they keep cutting away to the presenter's face. That's to insert a break in the narrative without it being obvious. There's all kinds of other problems with this and the previous clip. For example, Dr. Simon Benjamin, who treated Betty and Barney Hill after their encounters. The tapes are actually on YouTube if you want to hear them. They took it very seriously, what actually happened to them, and many other people did. Let's go back to the images. I was actually... Oh, here we go. Yeah. Those are just the videos. Yeah, I was actually asked to take part in that series myself. They wrote to me and asked me if I would be one of these contestants. I don't know what to call. What do you call them? I declined. Now, this is remarkable. This is a crop circle. They call them circles regardless of their shape, but I think they're really incredible things. We have here a face, which is like a dot matrix image. You see that? It's like the old newspapers. And this is an extraordinary piece of work, apparently made by guys with planks in the middle of the night. Sometimes not even in the middle of the night. And this actually appeared in a place called Chilbolton, Hampshire, in 2002, along with several other very, very interesting messages. Now, for example, there's this. Now, this is what you're talking about, Steve, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Now, this is what this you see is next to the face. They appeared quite close to each other. And here's a diagram of that crop circle. And you see, it's the Arecibo message. We didn't have to wait 50,000 years. They've sent us back the same Arecibo message that was sent in 1974. The exact same one returned to us. Or is it? Take a closer look. The DNA molecule is completely different to the one we saw, right? The alien, that's not a person, that's not a human being, is it? Standing the red thing in the middle. They're slightly smaller than us, and there's more of them. And as you can see in the solar system diagram, they don't just live on one planet, they live on, well, there's 2 planets raised, and there's 4 in a circle, which could be the moons of a gas giant. And then this thing at the bottom, the purple thing at the bottom, is completely unintelligible. But funny enough, a crop circle appeared nearby that looked like that. So you see, these things appeared in this field at Chilbolton. And now, obviously, this didn't take 50,000 years to come back. So if this is a communication, who did it and how do they do it and things like that. And there's more, because a few months later, this appeared in the same field. Now, again, this is one of the most remarkable crop circles I've ever seen. As you see, there's this dot matrix image of what looks like a more complicated image of the red thing, isn't it? It's like a grey alien. Now, there's a circle. This circle here contains a secret message in code, which I won't go into because it's very complicated. But this is really an incredible formation. It really, really is. And I know I met a guy who claims he knew who made this. And he knew it was made by guys with planks. And he says, well, who are they? He says, I can't tell you. I get this all the time. I can't tell you who they are because it's criminal damage and trespass. They'd be arrested. No. My friend Matthew Williams, he makes these things, and he's been prosecuted for crop circle making. The only person ever, and he wears that proudly on his sleeve. But I asked him, he says, oh, I know who they are. I know who they are. Who are they? I can't tell you. Right. How scientific is that? I've heard 2 separate crop circle making teams, planking guys, claim the same crop circle as their work. Now, either one of them's lying, or they're both lying. What's really interesting is right next door to that field is the Chilbolton Radio Observatory, which has been involved in the SETI program. I wonder if that's a coincidence. Now, any of you recognise this chap? Terence McKenna. It's Terence McKenna. Now, he was a very, very big critic of SETI. And he said that the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, the way it's being conducted at the moment, is like pointing a radio telescope at the stars and expecting to find a good Italian restaurant. Slight exaggeration, but I know the point he's making. I understand the point he's making. And it takes us back to, again, interspecies communication. We essentially are anthropomorphizing. We talk about the hydrogen line. We send them mathematic configurations. We're assuming that they are like us up to a point. It makes sense in a way because to be able to communicate with us, they must have developed science. They must have had a scientific education development, and they must have developed the same levels of science that we have at least. But apart from that, we can't assume they're going to think like we are. We can't put ourselves in their shoes, even if they have 2 feet. And so he's absolutely right, and that's where I think that we could explain some of the failures of this particular movement. And this film, I don't know how many of you have seen this, Arrival. If you haven't, oh good. If you haven't seen it, please see it. This is really, alien invasion movies, there's many of them. They vary an awful lot in intellectual content and technical creativity. This scores highly on both axes. And it's essentially about language. The whole film is about some of the problems I've outlined. If they do come across, how do we speak to them? Not, they don't come down and they mutter incoherences about take me to your leader and revenge is a dish best served cold and all this sort of thing. They speak in a really, really weird way by drawing circles in the air, and they have to be decoded, and we have to find like a way of communicating. It takes ages and ages and ages. And the first person they send in to analyse this craft that lands it is a scientist, but the scientist is accompanied by a linguist. The main character, a lady called Louise. She's a linguist. She knows about language. So maybe now, can you now see the hidden message in this? You can. What is it?
Well, they're already here, and the UFOs behind me.
Precisely. You've spotted it, yes. Yeah, this gentleman has decoded this hidden message. This is the Carl G. Jansky Very Large Array, and it's pointing its antenna at distant stars millions of light years away. But what they're looking for is flying right above the observatory. I'll show you another lovely little meme later on that really captures this whole thing. I'll show you that at the end. But the question is, I mean, those of you who've seen me talk before will know that I think to myself, well, are the government trying to cover up the presence of extraterrestrial intelligence, extraterrestrial life? The answer is yes, they are. And I've done entire talks here about that. I've done a couple of them have been about that. And so the question is, would they cover up the presence of an extraterrestrial intelligence if it was detected by the SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence? And in this I include 3i, I include BLC-1 and 3i Atlas. Would they do it? Would they do it? And the answer is yes, they would. But or would they? Because, I mean, the implications are very, very different. Let me just see here. Okay, here we go. This is no signs of aliens in the closest 1,300 stars. This is from, now this is this was made before BLC-1 was detected. But this article came out. But the question is, the thing is that the implications of the success of SETI are very different than the implications of ufology being proven true. So the message to the people that is, we've discovered alien life, it's millions and millions of light years away and it's not going to come near us anytime soon, is very different to saying aliens are real and not only are they out there, but they're down here on Earth with us. We've captured them. We captured their craft in 1947, we captured alien bodies, we back-engineered their technology. We know we are not alone and they're here with us and they're much more powerful than us and they're interacting with us. And we forgot to tell you, sorry. Now, the implications of those two statements are incredibly different politically, aren't they? They're incredibly different. Howard, so. So there is a precedent for this. I mean, there's reason to believe, maybe this is partly what Jeremy Corbell was talking about in his video. There is reason to believe that they have a motive for covering this up. This is the Brookings Institute. Now, in 1959, oh, dear, I'm not that boring, am I? One of the audience is walking out. So, you see, in the very dawn of the space age in 1959, the Brookings Institute published an article that said, it didn't specifically recommend a cover-up, but it said, if you find evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence, even in the past, even from the distant past, it might not be a good idea to shout it from the rooftops. You know, social upheaval, public panic, you know, things like that. And so it shouldn't surprise us that when the Viking orbiter in 1976 took this picture, that it was ridiculed by the authorities, and indeed they were very reluctant to get better pictures of this region of Mars with more sophisticated modern probes. It took them, you know, the first one that went there failed somehow. The second one took a really crappy picture, and then there was others. It took a long time before we actually got a good look at this scenery. I'm not going to talk about this in detail, but I do believe that there's reason to believe that this was actually created in the distant past by an intelligent animal species that lived on Mars. Probably before life even evolved on Earth, when Mars was a water-covered warm planet, which indeed it was in its past. We know that. There's no doubt that Mars it must have been a lot warmer there in the distant past, billions of years ago, and it must have had a thicker atmosphere because water flowed on it. Now, this is a document from it's a really great organisation they've set up, SETI, the SETI Institute. It's called the Office of Intergalactic Telegrams. That's fantastic, isn't it? And it gives a code of practice for what we do should a message be found. So, for example, they say, first of all, don't tell anyone, share it with other people within the scientific community, ask other observatories to try and confirm that it exists, do like a study and prepare a document for publication. Tell officials and people like that, but don't approach the press. And whatever you do, don't reply to the message. Because we don't know, again, because they're scared of what people might say and how the aliens might misinterpret it. Now, so it's kind of, what happens in the Contact movie actually is one of the main character, Ellie Arroway, she breaks that protocol and she goes straight to the press. So that's very interesting, that. But there is a code of conduct. Now, the thing about it is, this almost looks like, together with the Brookings Institute, it looks like a mandate for a possible opportunity for conspiracy to cover up the existence of a signal from space. But then, it's not just would they cover it up, could they cover it up? These are all radio observatories here. There's many, many of them. There's the new ones opening, like the Vera C. Rubin Observatory that discovered 3I Atlas. And so you've got to ask the question, could they cover it up if they wanted to? I think the answer is no. There were just too many telescopes. There were too many astronomers. They're all over the world. They all share data in unfiltered communications. And there's the amateurs as well. This is a group of amateur astronomers. There's millions of amateur astronomers. It's a very popular hobby. There's even a YouTube video of an amateur astronomer with a big telescope like that. Not like a little pair of binoculars. You've got to get a proper one. Like, this is the size of a dustbin. But he's like pointing it, and he picks up 3I Atlas in his telescope, and he's made a YouTube video about it. It's just a telescope in his back garden. This is another image of 3I Atlas, which is currently hurtling across the solar system right now, and we don't know what it's going to do. Yeah, we don't know what it's going to do. It could change course. It could slow down. It could release smaller probes, things like that. Now, there's several people online claiming that there's a conspiracy to cover up the truth about 3I Atlas, and this is why 3I Atlas so interests me. If this starts doing something really alien, unmistakably alien, like non-gravitational acceleration, like giving off like signals and things like that, like all that kind of stuff, right? If it does something like that, then there's no way they can cover it up. There are currently thousands of telescopes all over the world looking at this thing right now, in all countries of the Earth. So many, you could not keep that number of astronomers silent. You couldn't get them to collaborate in a conspiracy. You can't, this is not something you can just, a UFO crash retrieval is a very strictly local affair. It's comparatively easy. You couldn't just put a fence around this and get rid of this and replace it with a weather balloon. This is up there. It's in space. We can all see it. So if this does anything alien, distinctly alien, no one can deny, this is essentially a moment of catastrophic disclosure. This is why I'm so interested in this. I mean, some people are scared of this. They think some people are scared. It's going to invade us and stuff like this. There's going to be an Independence Day kind of like scenario. There's going to be flames coming down from it. It's going to blow water worlds, stuff like that. Well, I mean, I'm not bothered. I mean, unless Bill Pullman comes out and does a really awful speech, I'm not heading for the hills. I'm not stocking toilet paper or any of those other things. I promise you. I mean, I go to sleep every night knowing that there's an extraterrestrial civilizations, more than one, already on this planet interacting with us, and they have been for a very long time. And I sleep soundly in my bed every night knowing that. What difference does one more spaceship make? And like I said, what makes this special is if they won't be able to cover this up if it does something truly alien. So are we going to see this? Oh, Trumpy, I'm here to tell you today. Aliens are real, and now knowing him, it'll like well, at least they will be real when I sign an executive order saying they're real. What about this person? What's his name? Yeah. What's his name? Keir Starmer. I keep forgetting his name. He's not the most memorable prime minister we've ever had, is he? He's not exactly. He's on the front of everyone's mind, and he's going to live on in history as a legend, is he? Hello everybody. My name's Keir Starmer, and I'm the Prime Minister, and I'm going to talk to you about something interesting today. Aliens are real. We didn't tell you. Sorry. We'll bring back school milk. It's again, if it's SETI, they won't have a problem, but if it's UFOs, see, but I and this is a meme I hope will go viral soon, I really do. Who's the knobber now, Brian? I don't know if this is Professor Brian Cox, and he's been on TV everywhere saying, really been very rude and very nasty, very arrogant, saying how stupid people like us are. This is the worst pop scientist of all. I mean, I'm not a fan of Carl Sagan. I think he comes across as dishonest, but he was slightly more agreeable than this chap by a long way. This guy, I don't think this guy's covering up. I think he's too stupid to cover anything up. And what's more, I don't think he's going to apologise when he's proven wrong. I think he's too up himself to apologise. He'll retire rather than apologise to us. He'll just go quiet. You just won't see him again. He'll go off to some cottage in the countryside and you'll never see him again. He won't admit he was wrong. But I mean, he's awful. He's like, I don't know if I've got time to tell the story about... All right. He presented this thing called Stargazing Live on the BBC with... well, he does several programs. He does this thing called The Infinite Monkey Cage on Radio 4 with Robin Ince. But he used to do this thing called Stargazing Live with Dara O'Brien, who is an astronomer. And this guy's like a particle physicist. He's not an astronomer. But I don't know how O'Brien felt playing second fiddle to him. But there was this incident where there was this newly discovered planet called Threppleton Holmes B, and it was an exoplanet orbiting a different star. And on this program, he said they were at the Jodrell Bank Observatory, and he said, "Let's turn the antenna towards Threppleton Holmes B." And so they start doing it. They start turning this antenna towards this newly discovered planet, and the BBC they cut the program. The director hits the red button, they cut it off. And you can just imagine the scene now, Brian Coxey going, "Why did they do that? How dare they cut the feed when I'm talking?" You know. It turns out that the BBC were concerned that the transmission, any transmission from that planet might break the BBC's editorial guidelines. Like the aliens might swear on TV or something. It's hilarious, but you can just imagine how you can... Can you just imagine how incensed this person was? Because he really hated. You bet he really hated that. But that's nothing to what he's got coming. I'll tell you. He's going to have to eat so much humble pie. It's going to stick in his gullet. I believe the success of SETI will have a knock-on effect on ufology, a positive effect on ufology, because despite the fact that there's this divide between the two. Where like the aliens, there's the people who believe aliens are millions of light years away. They have a very negative opinion of us. Seth Shostak, as you saw in that clip from the BBC, patronising those UFO witnesses. Carl Sagan, again, dismissing the various stories of Betty and Barney Hill and the other photographs and the other stories that he's heard. The people who are into SETI just think UFOs are crazy, and it's understandable because. Let's face it, if we're right, it makes them pretty much redundant, doesn't it? It makes everything they've done kind of like superfluous. But I think probably some people, including the late great Stanton Friedman, who was a great exopolitics guy, claim that the SETI program was promoted in order to make people turn away from ufology. But I think the success of SETI, which may happen, we may pick up signals from distant stars. I think that would actually have a positive effect on ufology, because everyone who sees that will think, well, okay, they exist. It'll make people aware that they exist out there. The great silence is over. Then, in that case, if they exist, maybe they have their own spaceships and they've already found us, and maybe that's what UFOs are. So although SETI itself wouldn't actually lead... Stanton called SETI silly effort to investigate, not search for extraterrestrial intelligence. It wouldn't necessarily lead to disclosure. I mean, the Three-Eye Atlas is something entirely different. It's more ufological than SETI. It would cast the whole idea of visitation into a sharper relief, which would be positive, I think. And so I look forward to that. If you want to know more about me, here's my website, Hospital Porters Against the New World Order. Details are on there, and these are my books, Roswell Rising and Novel of Disclosure. Now, this book, I wrote this book because I thought about the subjects we talk about in this group, and I came up with a fictional scenario, hence novel. What would happen if we got the truth instead of the lies? And that led to a story, which led to one book, and it led to another one. Roswell revealed the world after disclosure. And finally, Roswell redeemed humanity after disclosure. And you know what? I forgot to order some I was going to order some and bring some with me. I've got one copy of Roswell Redeemed. Anyone got £10 want this? Put your hands up or you can come to see me afterwards. This is £10 if you want it, and I'll sign it for you. It'll be worth a lot of money in a few years. So, yeah, once again, this is the Roswell trilogy, and this, I think, is a great illustration. This little alien wants to use the toilet and has got out of his flying saucer. And you think the scientists would be really interested in that. He wants to have a wee behind a tree. So you think scientists would be really interested in it, but no. They're just staring at this is kind of another version of that image I showed you, the title screen with the Carl Jansky Very Large Array and the flying saucer. It's another way of saying the same thing. This is the divide between ufology and SETI. SETI's looking in the wrong direction. They're looking at something so far away when it's right behind them. Thank you very much. Hi, hiya.
That's a question. That guy at the beginning, in the warehouse on the stool, who said,
Jeremy Corbell, yeah.
You're going to be told a lie, and the lie is, it's coming.
Yeah, there's something hurtling towards the Earth.
Well, if that's the lie, what's the truth?
The truth is, well, obviously it's not a lie. Yeah, the lie is that he's concerned that the government will tell us that is an object which is hostile in intention. It's hostile and it means us harm. And the only way to protect ourselves is to call for an international state of emergency, in which all democratic elections are suspended. All national government. Yeah, he said things. Yeah, I haven't seen the rest of the programme, but I know that this is probably, I think, is where he's leading. So there'll be an international state of emergency, all democratic elections suspended, all national governments would then be subordinate to a world authority, which they call it the Planetary Defence Authority or something like that. And and this state of emergency would be temporary, of course. And then one day, when they've solved this problem of extraterrestrial hostility, the power that they have taken from the people, they will return to the people. If you believe that. I've got some beachfront property in Birmingham you might be interested in. So yeah, that's the concern. I mean, that's where I mean, this is something we've got to be on our guard against. If the government do try to play some kind of joke, some kind of trick like that, use it for. But was that an alien? Which one used the spy in here? Which one's used? Okay, yeah. But there's at least one of you statistically as a spy. But the thing about it is that. On the other hand, I'm not going to. Some people online are really assuming that. They're assuming, yes, this is like going to be. They're going to like pretend this is something that's going to come to kill us. And I'm not 100% sure they're going to do that, because this could be something different. It could be something really alien. And if it is, then that's an opportunity for, as I said, catastrophic disclosure. And that's because if it starts doing something alien, the government won't be able to cover it up. They'll have to admit so much more that they know. And so that's an opportunity we can't afford to miss. And so for that reason, I think we should we have to tread a kind of quite narrow line between excessive cynicism and excessive naivety. Hi, Steve.
If they come, will they have a different God to us?
Well, presumably, if you believe in God, then there's only one. Yeah, there's only one. Yeah. I think they may give him a different name and have different mythology associated with him, the way we do with our religions here. But obviously it can't be a different God. I mean, there can't be, because maybe there's a different God in a different universe. I don't know. But,
I mean, this is what religions are worried about.
Yeah.
Is the fact that if there is anything outside of this planet, why wasn't it mentioned in the Bible?
A lot of people say that. Yeah.
Big time. They weren't gods.
The Nephilim, yeah, the Elohim, yeah, the creator of the Nephilim, and yeah, it's in Genesis chapter 12, and it's a very interesting passage. The gods came down from from heaven, saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and took of them many wives, who gave them many heirs, that became the wise men of renown. Yeah, that implies an alien human hybrid bloodline within the elite of the elite people of the earth. I don't have time to talk about that in detail, but if you think about it, like religion survived the blow dealt by Charles Darwin in the 19th century, because people at the time thought, well, Darwin has worked out how species evolve, therefore, religions are going to collapse. Well, they didn't. They adapted, and they will adapt again. And see, some won't even notice. I think Islam already has the concept of the jinn, which are kind of aliens. Hinduism as well has something similar. Judaism the Jews will just see this as one more thing to sit up all night having theological debates about. And Christianity is probably the most vulnerable one to change, but it will adapt. It's done so before, and it will again. I think nothing will happen to the religions of the world after disclosure, in my view. I think they'll just carry on. They'll change and they'll adapt and they'll carry on. Any more questions? Sir?
Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. Now, there are YouTube videos showing that they are being interfered with by some external source. And then you read something like Wikipedia that says, oh no, these are natural catastrophes that have happened to both of them, and NASA are correcting these faults remotely. Well, I don't know which I find most unlikely of those two. About equal, I would say. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the Voyager data is very strange, because there's strange things like people say the craft is speeding up, and NASA explained this as, well, one of the thrusters must have started inadvertently. But it could also mean that there is an anomaly concerning maybe some kind of strange Doppler shift with the signal, which could indicate possibly it's entering an area where, God forbid, the speed of light changes. Some people like João Maguejo, a scientist, has actually suggested the speed of light could vary away from a large gravitational field, such as the sun. And when a spacecraft gets too far from the sun, the speed of light starts to change, which would change, for example, the rate that time passes and things like that.
That's true.
So all kinds of weird things could be happening to the Voyager, and I don't, I think just for NASA to say, well, they explain it with theories. Like, well, a new thruster one of the thrusters must have started inadvertently. We don't, why? How do they know?
That seems as unlikely as an external force is taking it over.
Exactly, it's a possibility, but it's a possibility that's kind of been inserted there, and it's kind of accepted as default because it doesn't involve anything weird. I call this the clown's day off fallacy, and I think they're committing that in this situation. Yeah, definitely. Sir?
Yes, I mean, that's really funny.
It is hilarious.
The book I was trying to remember earlier is Trevor James Constable's The Cosmic Pulse of Life, in which he says there are basically three types of aliens. The first ones, where you see all the lights, they're doing stuff and then they just go vertical. These are large life forms because they were first detected when radar came out. And they're basically very large amoeba. They live here, and they're in the infrared, and at will they can become visible and then play around. They have, like playing games and stuff. So that's one lot. The second lot are the extra terrestrials, but there are two types. The alien abduction ones are the kind of NASA dark stuff where actually are experimenting on people, unfortunately. And then there are other ones that are more benign, who come here to warn us about what's going to happen if we don't change our direction.
It's interesting because, funny enough, Trevor James Constable has come up several people have mentioned him today, this evening. And there's a guy, a friend.
The other thing I was going to say about SETI is absolutely the sort of the dark side, for want of a better word, always creates organisations that validate that it controls, that it can steer in the right direction and point facing the wrong way.
Exactly, and well, that's what.
See, and the whole stuff. And the other point about dinosaurs, but I'm not sure where that came up. It was another thing. Apparently, the whole thing, dinosaurs were created by one bloke who found 3 bones, created 3 new species from one bone. This is all in the UK. Some other chap found a bone. Brilliant, he goes. Okay, now we've got 4 species, and he created the whole is it genera, whatever you call
Oh, right,
it, of
okay.
dinosaurs out of 3 or 4 bones.
That's interesting.
And then you get funding. Someone with lots of money says, let's have a natural history museum.
That's right, he's one in
And that's
Oxford.
a SETI. It just goes on and on and on.
There's all kinds of examples, other examples I could give. And funny enough, there's a friend of mine who lives near Oxford, and a friend of Neil, Nick Hayes, is kind of carrying on the work of Trevor James Constable. Really? And he's very interesting what he's discovered. He's written a book called Quest for the Invisibles. Yeah, definitely. Thanks very much. Anyone else? Yeah.
Any more questions?
Anyone else from questions, comments?
The government will be testing their emergency alert system.
Well, I'm putting my phone somewhere where they can't get it, I'll tell you. Not with me though, Ian, I'll tell you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome, thank you. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. Anyone want the last book? Anyone? It's here if you want it. Once it's gone, it's gone. But you'll like it if you like this sort of talk. But thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you. Who was
for
the
coming.
chap who said about
Nick Hayes.
Nick Hayes?
Yeah. Nick Hayes' his name is. Yeah. Yeah. But just he's a very interesting chap. He lives just not far from me. It's really he's captured these images using infrared cameras and things like that. Yeah. And he's connected to Wilhelm Reich. He uses a cloudbuster. Alright guys, well I finished my talk. I'm pretty tired, but it went down very well. Every single seat was full. We had a full out here. It's the best attended of any of my talks, and the audience were great. This is a great group. Irish love it here. Many thanks to Lorna and to Steve and everyone else who made this happen, and to Neil as well. Bye Debbie. Nice to meet you. Yeah. Take care. Bye bye. Yeah, bye bye. And I've met some new people and made some new friends. Thanks. Bye Roger. Yeah, okay. No, take care, mate. Nice to see you again. Talk to you again soon, all right?
Yeah,
take care.
Yeah, we will talk about it.
Alright guys, we're just driving home now with Neil. He's been really a tower of strength for me. He's kind of my agent in the area. He's kind of my agent.
I'm on 50% commission.
It's been great fun, but I'm absolutely exhausted, as I always am at the end of these events. But very, very happy. I've done a really good job. So we're going to have a few beers, I think. We have got some beer, so Neil and I can relax a little bit before bed. Well, Neil and I are having a beer at the end of the day, and it's been quite a good day, hasn't it, Neil? We've got some.
It's been a long day, but it's been a very fruitful day, and your talk went down really well, and lots of people enjoyed it and laughed at Ben's jokes at the right places.
Yeah. And then you viewers, the viewers will have seen it by now. I mean, it's on the video. So, but you saw it. It was a full house, I reckon. I didn't see many empty seats.
No, that's right. I think you got a mad rush at the last minute. People coming through the door just as literally you had started. So that was good, and good Q&A thing, and lots of people were talking to you afterwards, asking lots of questions.
I had a lot of really good discussions with people.
You got a bit of a fan groupie thing going on there, Ben.
Yeah, that's right. There are no cocaine or prostitutes, but then that's not the end of the world. They're still very good people, and and it's a great group. And you guys, you as well, Neil, have been really helpful, and so I appreciate that. And so if you're watching, thanks for coming, you guys. And I don't know what I'm going to talk about for my next event. I mean, I spoke to this guy. He had an Ulster accent, and he was really nice. And he was saying like, well, what are the subjects you talk about? And I said, well, I'm a bit of a jack of all trades. Maybe I don't know what I'm going to do for my next talk next year, because maybe I just need some new material, try and invent something new it's appropriate. Maybe I could go more into like the Project Bluebeam stuff, because that seemed to interest people a lot,
Yeah, I mean, that's a difficult one, isn't it? I mean, they have a whole gamut of different subjects. So they've covered Atlantis, Bigfoot, Dowsing, and I've done hominids and humanoids. I've done encounters with fairies, ghosts and spirits. They've had sort of sacred earth dances, and they really do cover a whole wide thing of everything. And but I think your particular subject was proving popular. A lot of people wanted to know about this sort of stuff, and some people came up to me afterwards and they said they're glad you mentioned the Atlas thing.
Yeah, they heard of 3i Atlas.
And I said, yeah. I said you kept it well up to date. You're like looking at it even at this week sort of thing.
Yeah.
And people knew about it, and they said, "Oh, they're so glad you mentioned it." So
great.
everyone's been following that. I think
that's really good. I mean, yeah, because it's a current affair essentially.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing issue. It's a situation that's breaking at the moment. I think that makes it very, very good and topical. So I didn't talk about BLC1, and I did this instead, and I'm quite glad I did, because BLC1's not as interesting, quite frankly.
Is that the same as Black Lives Matter?
Alien Lives Matter. Yeah, there was BLC. It was Breakthrough Listen candidate. That Breakthrough Listen, Yuri Milner's organisation, basically picked up a very, very strange signal coming from what looks like a planet orbiting Proxima b, which is the nearest star to the Earth apart from the Sun. It's only 4.5 light years away. And it's a strange modulated signal. It appears it's the fact that it keeps Doppler shifting regularly indicates it's not coming from the star but from a planet orbiting or from something orbiting that star. And it's kind of gone quiet a bit, but it's work. I know that the SETI scientists are working on it, and it could be significant. But really, 3i Atlas is much more urgent right now, because as we're speaking, it's approaching Mars. In a month's time, it's gonna. If it stays on course, it will have a close encounter with Mars, and hopefully we'll get some really good pictures from it.
I would have thought, now of course I'm no sort of astrophysicist or anything like that, but I would have thought that when it was coming past Jupiter, the gravitational force of Jupiter would have done something to it.
Oh, it did. I mean, its hyperbolic trajectory is virtually a straight line, yet it has altered slightly due to the gravitational influence of planets, especially Jupiter, which is it's actually by far the biggest planet in the solar system.
Yeah.
It has more mass than the rest put together.
Yeah.
And it's due actually to encounter Jupiter much closer, far closer. It's actually due to encounter Jupiter literally, I think it's 0.35 AU, which is around about 57 million miles. Which is actually pretty close.
So it's already come past Jupiter. But
it's past the orbit of Jupiter. It's going to counter orbit at Jupiter again at the other side of the.
When Jupiter's come round.
Yeah. Come to think of it, I mean, it kind of got that close to Jupiter on its way in, but it has actually gone through the asteroid belt. It's going to come close to Mars, and then it's going to head off, and it's going to plus quite close to Venus, because Venus is like basically on the far side of the Sun. As it goes past, it's going to be 0.38 AU from Venus, and I can't remember all these figures exactly how much they are, but they're much closer to Jupiter. It's really unlikely. Seems very convenient. It's so close to all these planets and a long way from Earth. It's almost like it's avoiding Earth.
It's just that comet Shoemaker-Levy back in '95 or '96 or whenever it was.
Yeah, it impacted Jupiter.
It impacted Jupiter. They knew it was going to happen. They knew it for at least a year beforehand. They even predicted it was going to break up into lumps, and did do that, because they said Jupiter is the biggest planet and it's going to suck these things. It hoovers up the rubbish in the solar system.
We're quite lucky actually, because it actually a lot of these comets that impact Jupiter would otherwise impact the inner planets, including Earth.
Yeah.
It's quite likely actually that some people speculate that life on Earth would never have developed to the level that it has if it weren't for Jupiter, because the simple life would have been wiped out regularly by cometary impacts, and they haven't been thanks to Jupiter.
It almost acts like an antibody, doesn't it?
Or a shield.
A big cell that swallows up germs, which is these rocks.
Exactly, or I compare it to like a shield.
Yeah.
And it's been very it's been very useful, but it's obviously this. It seems like these all could be some massive coincidence, but and a lot of people like Karen Meach, the astronomer, is claiming that everything that Avi Loeb talks about is coincidence. But if that's the case, why does she need to swear at him in an interview? Why does she need to be rude to him? Because she was, and I think that's bad.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of astronomers, I think, who are...
Well, the fact there's a lot of coincidence on it, maybe it is a coincidence, but it's a case of just wait and see, I think.
Definitely, and we've got to bear in mind that skeptics, this teetering Jenga pile of coincidences they keep piling up really has no limit for the skeptic, and they never declare where that limit is. They'll never declare exactly when that pile will fall.
So whenever a skeptic says coincidence, I always think, well, that's but okay. Well, what if you added this factor and that factor? When are you going to stop saying things are coincidence? Where's your statistical ceiling? It's pretty annoying.
Talking of coincidence, my wife bought this book on the strength of someone recommended it, Beyond Coincidence.
It was me, yes.
Was it you that said it?
Oh, I think it was me. Well, it may not have been me who recommended it, but it is a book I've read and it's very interesting.
Yeah. So I was reading on the back. It says a pair of twins separated at birth reunite after 40 years. Both are named Jim. Both married women named Linda and then divorced them. Both had second wives named Betty and sons named James. Growing up, both had dogs named Toy, and both had served as part-time sheriffs. Both of them saw a great big flying saucer coming past Jupiter at the same time. No, I added that bit. But yeah, I mean, I do love these coincidence stories, and my own personal coincidence story happened. Well, I've had different coincidences, but the favourite one of mine that I do like to share, which I'll share with people if they want to listen, was that before I lived in this area, I was heading down to see Monica from my area, and I stopped at McDonald's. Now, I don't really go to McDonald's, I never did then. And I hadn't been in McDonald's for years, but I thought I'll get a coffee for the journey. So I went into this McDonald's, and I looked around and thought, oh my God, this McDonald's has changed so much with all these big computer screens and everything like that. And I thought, God, this is like Back to the Future. This is what I was thinking in my head. Never spoke to anybody. Got a coffee and came out, and I started thinking about Back to the Future films. And I thought, oh yeah, I really like Back to the Future, and I like the second one. The third one was pretty good as well, you know. And then, I started my journey. I was driving down the motorway. As I got into the motorway, I was still thinking about Back to the Future and Marty McFly, thinking, yeah, good films, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I saw this truck ahead of me on the inside lane. It was a pickup truck, so it was going a bit slower. So I was overtaking it, and as I overtook it, on the back of this pickup truck was the actual DeLorean time machine car from Back to the Future, would you believe? Not just a DeLorean, it was the time machine car on the back of this pickup truck. Wow. And I overtook it, and only 2 minutes earlier, I was thinking about how great Back to the Future films were.
That is uncanny.
That's weird, isn't it?
That's really uncanny, yeah. That's very strange.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other. I mean, that book contains some really extreme examples. For example, the man he was a soldier in the First World War, and he had a, he had a kit with his shaving brush, and he what happened was the ship was struck by a U-boat torpedo and sank, and he managed to escape in a lifeboat. After the war, he moved to the United States. He was a British guy. He moved to the United States and settled there. One day, this was like a number of years later, he was walking along the beach, and the various flotsam and jetsam and seaweed and things were washing up around his feet, and he was like just enjoying the stroll. And he suddenly saw like an object that looked familiar. He picked it up. It was a British Army issue shaving brush, and he thought, and he looked at it, and he saw that someone had written their name. They'd carved their name into the handle, which soldiers used to do to prevent kit pilfering.
Yeah.
And he looked down and he read his own name, and he remembered carving it on that handle a number of years earlier when it was issued to him at the start of the war.
Wow.
And this was his own brush. It had gone down with the ship. This was off the coast of Brittany in France, and somehow it had floated around for years and years, made its way across the Atlantic, and eventually swept up on the shore of the United States on the eastern seaboard. But not just any shore, the shore he happened to be walking on at the time he was walking on it.
Yeah.
Now, the odds of that happening are staggeringly incredible. It's an incredible piece of luck. Now, a skeptic will say that's a coincidence. And the thing is, it's physically possible. That's the problem. It's physically possible, however unlikely it is.
Yeah.
And that's where I personally find myself going down a little bit of a black hole and thinking, well, if it's something, it's nothing in this universe that's physically possible is so unlikely you can say that can never happen. In which case, does that mean everything that happens, however unlikely, can only happen simply by chance? That's, I think, is the battle line when it comes to these kinds of theories that are discussed in that book. Because that's an example in the book. It's a really remarkable example. I personally think there has to be some kind of statistical ceiling, some kind of cut-off point
before it gets to godlike stuff.
Yeah, and in which there has to be a cut-off point when everyone has to agree, look, this is just so crazy, we've got to say it's significant. It's more than just, it must have some kind of causal significance. And the question is, where do you put it? Where is that line going to be? And will everyone go along with it, you know?
Yeah. Now, my friend told me this story from years ago. He used to watch the Richard and Judy show. He had to admit it in a confessional box, I must admit. It was that bad. But anyway, he told me that on one episode of the Richard and Judy show, he said they were talking about coincidences, and they asked people to ring in with their bizarre coincidence stories. And he said this lady rang in with her story, or was it her husband? One of them rang in anyway. And it was concerned a husband and wife that had gone on holiday somewhere together, and during the holiday, the wife was involved in a bit of a car accident or something, and she had to go to hospital. So they went to hospital, and she had to be, you know, bandaged up or whatever they had to do to her. But she had to spend like maybe 2 weeks in the hospital, ruined their holiday. And the husband was going there every single day to see her. And he said to them, look, he said to the matron, is there anything we can do, board games or quizzes or magazines, just to stop us getting bored, basically, you know. And so the matron said, well, there is a jigsaw on the top of this shelf here in this cupboard, but there's no box lid. It went missing years ago. But, you know, if you can try and work out all the parts, be my guest, sort of thing. So they said anything to stop us going crazy. So they started to do this jigsaw without the box lid. And as they were doing it over maybe a day or two, you know, because they didn't have the box lid, it took quite a while to put together, they realised as the picture began to assemble, it was a place they'd been on holiday together previously. Oh my God, we've been there. And then they looked closer in the jigsaw and realised as they looked closer, they were in the picture of the jigsaw. Of all the things, you know.
Incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. These are really, really remarkable things. And things like, yeah, I mean, it's if we don't declare some kind of statistical ceiling, then people are just going to say ridiculous things like, you know, you listen to a tune and someone will come along and say, well, that's just random noise. It's apophenia, you know, audio pareidolia. Or someone will go into the Sistine Chapel. It's beautiful. It is this beautiful, incredible mural by Michelangelo. And they'll say, that's just random daubs of paint. Michelangelo just got angry one day and started kicking paint pots around the room. And someone looked up and said, nice pattern, Mike, I'd keep that. Yeah. Because that's the level of ridiculous we will end up with, you know, if we don't do that. But,
yeah.
Anyway, it's been a good day, mate.
It has. So, well done, Ben. You've done really well. Thank you. And I'm sure you'll be very welcome back at Dorset Earth Mysteries. Watch this space.
I'd love to come back and... Yeah, and thanks for having me here at your home. It's a lovely place.
Pleasure. No problem.
I'm going to go to bed soon. We're having a couple of beers first. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to sunny Weymouth. You probably recognise this room if you've watched previous videos from this area. I'm here in this little room here, surrounded by Neil Ward's and Monica Ward's wonderful artwork. And I slept like Van Winkle. It's now almost 9 AM. And I woke up. I don't know. I woke up about an hour ago, but I slept from like 11:30 last night, so that's really, really good for me. As often at the end of these events, I do get tired. They do tire me out. I tell you what, I've had a fantastic evening last night, and it was really, really good. And so yeah, I feel totally relaxed, and I'm so glad I came here and did this event. Interesting dreams last night. Strange ones, like involving Philip Pullman's amber spyglass and Northern Lights, things like that. Very strange. Funny enough, I can remember quite a lot of it, which is unusual for me. Anyway, there's no rush to get back because I've got really nothing to do today except get to my job, which is I'm doing this residential job near Oxford. So I'll be doing that for the next 4 days. So plenty of time for that. Here we are in Neil and Monica's garden, and Neil's here, and let's have a look at these lovely plants. There's the summer house which we were in earlier. It's really a beautiful garden. It's a very small garden, but honestly, you've done some good stuff with it. You really have.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's tomatoes growing over there. We were at the garden centre with Neil. So I'm moving filming again. We're at the garden centre with Neil. We just had a lovely breakfast, and we are now examining the gardens and all the plants. Which is really, really nice.
They're doing a special discount on triffids today. So.
Is that we now reached a place called
where we've seen a dragonfly, and there's another one there. Look, Monica, there's one here. Look, this one.
There he goes.
Oh, I must get my camera in.
And we call them. You can borrow these photos if you like, but these images. But Monica and Neil call this dragonfly walk for that reason.
Yeah, dragonflies don't walk, but we do the walk.
Yeah.
Look, he's still up there. Can you zoom in on that, Ben?
Where is it?
Right, so this lower branch here.
Yeah.
Oh, I think he's... No, he's still there. He's still there, in a bit.
I can't see him.
Yeah, just...
It's very well camouflaged.
I've got a stick, I'll point to him. Right, okay, I'm going to point with this stick, okay?
Okay, I'll try and follow your gaze.
So he's just there. You got him? He's just
Oh,
going...
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you see him,
Just
Ben?
here?
Yeah, just one. Is that thing on that leaf there?
It's a sort of blue thing.
He's just literally
tail.
vertical.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, there. Oh yeah, there. Yes, next to the branch.
Ooh, I just...
Careful, darling.
Yes.
There.
Yeah, oh, what a beauty. Yes.
Keep him very still.
I see him, Very
Wish he was
quiet.
a bit lower, I'd photograph
I see him. Well, I'm getting a really good close-up. You can have these images. There we are. There's a lovely photo there. I'll send you the images.
Thank you.
Oh, it's beautiful, yeah. So this is Dragonfly Walk.
Yeah.
I see.
Butterflies.
There's another one there. There's blackberries. They're a bit dry and old now, but they still look lovely, these blackberries. Yeah.
Got that pigeon sound on.
Yeah. Oh, the wood pigeon is kind of like the wood. There he is. I see him.
That's a red one.
Yeah, I see him.
All the berries are out now.
Yeah, they're getting a bit old and dry now, but they still look beautiful.
Yeah, what about the blackberries?
Oh, I was talking about you, yeah.
What about me? Well, they say after October they turn the witches piss on them, that's the saying.
Oh, do they? Oh, right.
Yeah. Which basically means they turn to seed and they're no good anymore.
I didn't realise it was no, that was what it was called. There's another one there.
Blue one.
I see him, yeah, let me get a shot of him.
Wow.
Lovely, beautiful.
I think they smell the berries and like the smell them.
Do they eat the berries?
Never seen them eating them.
Berries. Oh, that's a lovely, isn't it? Oh, that's
Take
beautiful.
a photo
Yeah.
after you.
That's lovely, yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
Just, he's got his wings to the side. But, oh, there's a dragonfly, Ben. There, look. That one there. There's a butterfly, and then across there's
I see the butterfly, yeah.
And then pan on to the next load of bushes, and there's a.
Is there a dragonfly there somewhere?
Yeah, yeah, this is like a little red one, but so it's hard to see on those red berries.
Yeah, they're so well camouflaged. Yeah. Oh, I see him, yeah, I see it there.
Quite a few butterflies actually on these.
There's a little red. Oh, he's a lovely one, he is a lovely. Yeah. Sitting very still.
Yeah, oh, they're really quick when they fly. It's amazing how they can make these instant decisions to go left, right, centre, all sorts.
Yeah.
Like UFOs.
That's such fast reactions, yeah.
Oh, butterfly nearly landed on you then.
Oh, it's a red admiral.
Gosh.
That's a red admiral, isn't it? Lovely.
Has he been promoted?
Yeah. Used to be red lieutenant.
Open your wings. Oh, that's it.
Oh, that's lovely. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that lovely?
So pretty.
A plum tree here actually. The fruit's quite high up, but you can actually hook them down. Neil was just telling me. There's still a few up there, even this late. There's a few there. Look, there's a couple there.
Yeah, quite a few.
Yeah.
But that's where that pole comes in handy.
Aren't they? Oh, they're nice.
You shake them and they drop.
They look quite ripe actually, considering it's like, because the ones in my client's garden, they usually drop in by now. If you stand here for long enough, one will fall and you can catch it. It's
a long way
isn't
from
that lovely?
plum.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful, delicious. Oh, aren't they lovely? Yes.
Yeah, we had plum jam actually.
Nice.
Yeah, we used to take Roxy for walking here, but after a while she just sort of
That's the
refused
dog.
to go.
Oh. That's the old dog that Neil and Monica have, Roxy. It's a very sweet doggy.
More over there, plums.
There's no plums. There's more plums. There's another plum tree here.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. We've got like a little bench here, or sort of like a little, not really a bench. It's something you can sort of park yourself on briefly.
It's falling apart a lot.
Yeah, but you see some idiot's been leaving rubbish here. I hate when people do that.
Yeah, I shouldn't have
and down here is a pond. I'm just going to go and have a look at the pond here. And here is this pond here. It's really, it's so peaceful and quiet.
There's something quite big flying. Well, big. It's bigger than a dragonfly. It wasn't a bird.
Oh.
It hasn't come back again.
I wonder what that is. There's some woods over there with some pigeons.
And in that weed, there was like a little duck there.
Oh, nice.
Sort of bobbing its head up. I think it's gone now.
Yeah, he's going to It's better there's leeches in there. If you put so they're harmless, they can't hurt you. They're actually quite good
I'll
for
tell
you.
you what, with the environment like this, I'm more worried about ticks, to be honest.
Yeah, you've got long trousers on that time. Yeah, you wouldn't come with short trousers.
You want to
Get ticks on you.
Oh, well.
But it's a lovely little pond. Lovely pond. And there's one there. Don't want to get too close to them, don't want to disturb them. Yeah. Sitting there just looking at us. Just filming it there. Look at the size of that.
Landed.
That is absolute whopper, that is.
I think he's going to land actually then.
There we are. There he is.
He's landed.
Yeah, there it is. Can you see him? Look at that. Yeah, that's a big one, that. And look at that. That's a really big one, a blue striped one.
I think it's called a migrant hawker.
Migrant, is that a species?
And I think it's a male.
Yeah. Oh, someone.
Can't even find him now.
There it is. Look at the way the sunlight's glinting on the wings.
Yeah. He stayed still for ages, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's almost like he's posing for us.
Oh, nearly.
It's like he's posing for us almost. There's a robin over there, robin redbreast somewhere. They're amazing birds.
He's on the ground now.
He's down there. They don't have their normal. They don't have the fear of humans that many other birds do. They're amazing birds.
They've gone back in.
Yeah, but there's a bird. There's a robin redbreast. Monica's been trying to feed it. Now we're in Neil's art studio.
So, okay, so this is a picture I've been working on.
No, oh, that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's from a film.
That's for Menna, and it's a kind of
yeah.
What's the film is based on?
It's based on this film where this couple stay in this house, and all the streets are green, all the houses are green, hence the green thing. Vivarium, I think the film's called. Bit of a bizarre, weird film, and they can't escape. Even if they drive around the corner to go around, they seem to come back to the same house.
Oh, blimey.
So it's like a perfect kind of environment for people in streets and things. But
it sounds like living in Milton Keynes.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing. Every street looks the same.
Oh, you've seen this one?
Yeah, you've seen that one before. It's the same as that one.
That's Monica, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's Roxy?
So this is one we're working on. So I've been doing all the grass, and Monica's been working on Roxy, our dog, but we're still a long way to go. She's still got more layers of hair and fur to put more detail, basically.
That's
so it's going to be a gift for a friend of ours.
Oh, nice. Oh, lovely.
So yeah, Vivarium.
Beautiful, yeah, lovely stuff.
Yeah,
oh,
so
great.
This is where it all happens.
This is the studio, yeah. That's nice.
Oh, that's just the tapestry.
Oh,
no artwork on that one.
Oh, well, lovely. Yes, that's lovely, mate. Great stuff, mate. That looks really cool. I've got to see that film now.
Yeah, I think it's on Amazon actually. I think.
Vivarium. I'll look that up.
Vivarium, yeah.
Well, I'm here with Neil. I'm going to get my train back, but I think it's mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished indeed.
Well.
You did a great job.
I think it was a well attended. In fact, there was hardly any empty seats there. It was like a full house.
Full house, indeed, yeah.
And I didn't sell. I had my one book which I didn't sell, but I did leave it in their charity box. So I thought they could. So someone can now have it for a charity donation. But they never buy books there anyway. But I just want to say a big thank you to you.
No problem, Ben. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
All right.
And see you again soon.
Cheerio. Bye bye.
We've actually got a guard who's cheerful and has got a sense of humour, which is nice. He's been singing as he walks down the coast. Holton Heath. The guard calls it the world famous Holton Heath. I've never heard of it before, but there you are.
This is Holton Heath. This train is called London Waterloo. The next station is Hamworthy.
Hamworthy next. I have to ask him if I see him, because he says the place is world famous. On the stairs, not tunnels, not like tunnel they had at the place near when I went to Capel Green. This Premier. It's a lovely day actually, it's really small. Is this world famous, sir?
Bournemouth, Folkestone, Christchurch, New Milton, Brockenhurst, Southampton Central, Southampton Airport, Parkway, Winchester, Basingstoke, Clapham Junction, finally London Waterloo. Scheduled time for arrival 16:20, 20 minutes past 4. Next stop on this service this afternoon, my friends, will be sunny Bournemouth. Bournemouth will be the next station stop. Bournemouth.
Isn't it great to have a guy who actually has a personality and a sense of humour? He's really good, this guy. Yeah, if anyone's watching from Southwest Trains, I'd like to offer my appreciation for his service. Okay guys, I'm at Southampton Central. I'm feeling drained of energy. I was trying to read a book and I couldn't just focus. It was funny because I slept really well last night. But I've got to find my way to the right platform now. And then if I can get the train to Manchester Piccadilly, it's a downhill run to Oxford. Oh, I hate travelling by train. Anyway. Okay, I'm on the train from Southampton. There's no trolley service on this train, it seems, but there is a dining coach, and it's just been announced that they accept cash. Wait, I just want to ask a question out of curiosity. When did you start accepting cash again for payment?
We're accepting cash.
Oh right, because when this time last year I came on the train, they wouldn't accept cash as payment. I could only pay with card.
We are accepting. They didn't stop ever, you know.
Right.
It's easier for us to accept cash, so that you don't run around trying to go and give it.
So I'm glad you accepted again because they accepted now. But thanks very much. You know why they do that? It's like Alfred Hitchcock. Alright guys, well I'm heading off to my residential job now. Straight from one task onto another. Yeah, this is I'll basically be doing like some work in a house. I say work, it's actually quite easy. Basically some people are away and I'm just going to sit there and I'm going to look after the dogs. And also do housework and security, keep the place a good deep clean. But that should only take a couple of days. And I'm there for 5 days, so mostly it'll be quite easy. But it means I'll be away for a while, so when you're watching this it's going to be after I get back, which is next Tuesday. But never mind, it'll be a change of scenery and everything, but I'll miss you all, But in the meantime, thanks very much to everyone at Dorset Earth Mysteries Group. It's been a really, really good event. Fantastic, very well attended, almost a full house. They loved the event was really good, the audience was fantastic, great questions and comments. And for Neil and Monica for giving me a place to stay. And for Neil for basically being my agent in the area. And for Steve for all his technical support and Lorna for all her organising. And of course you, Hapanlo TV viewers, for watching. Thank you for watching Hapanlo TV. Hospital Porters, pride and dignity, stop the New World Order.
Thank you.